Today I will discuss the healing of a specialized tissue, particularly healing of the fracture, and a brief account of the stem cells and summary of the inflammation. The healing of the specialized tissue, fracture healing. Fracture, as you know, fracture is the breach in continuity of the bone. Wound or ulcer is breach in continuity of the skin or breach in continuity of your underlying tissue with the skin is wound, and ulcer is breach in continuity of the skin. Similarly, breach in continuity of the bone is called fracture. The fracture can be categorized. Healing of the fracture by callus depends on type of the healing, where it is simple healing or compound fracture or compound fracture. The simple fracture is that it is inside the skin covering and muscles are covered, and the compound fracture where the bone fracture and communicates with the exterior. Similarly, the fracture may be complete, that is complete break in the two parts, or incomplete, like green stick fracture. It is common in children, like buckled fracture. Similarly, the fracture may be traumatic or pathological. It may be due to accident or trauma, or it may be some due to previous disease which has weakened the bone and the bone has fractured. It is called pathological fracture, like by osteoporosis, etc. Then healing of the fracture occurs in the following stage: a stage of reaction, a stage of reparative process, then a stage of remodeling. A stage of reaction, a stage consists of three parts. The stage of reaction consists of three parts: a stage of hematoma formation, then inflammatory reaction at the site of fracture following trauma, and formation of granulation tissue. The second stage, a stage of reparative process, that is formation of the callus or oven bone, and second, deposition of the lamellar bone or trabecular bone. First, oven bone formation occurs, then trabecular bone formation occurs. And third is a stage of remodeling, which occurs into the original form by continuous osteoid laying process, bone formation, that is osteoblastic activity, and bone removal activity, that is by osteoclastic activity. So this healing occurs in three stages: a stage of reaction, a stage of reparative process, and a stage of remodeling. Then fracture healings. Basically, events resemble a skin wound, like fracture union, fracture by primary union healing or the secondary union healing. The primary union healing occurs when the fracture ends are approximated by clamping. Here, the bony union occurs with medullary callus formation without periosteal callus formation, and the patient is ambulatory earlier, but bone necrosis and slow healing occurs. Second is secondary union. It is a more common process of the fracture healing. Formation by procallus formation, osseous callus formation, and remodeling. Procallus formation, osseous callus formation, and remodeling. Now, the secondary union procallus formation occurs by hematoma, local inflammatory response consisting of macrophages, RBC, fibrin at the site of fracture, then ingrowth of granulation tissue. That is, granulation tissue, as I have told you, is new capillary bloods with fibroblastic activity. That is, proliferation of fibroblasts with capillary buds are called granulation tissue. So, ingrowth of granulation tissue occurs, and later on there is calcification of the granulation tissue, which is called callus. Callus is hard calcified granulation tissue. You must know that callus is hard calcified granulation tissue. Then secondary union, there is a secondary union callus, I have told you, derived from the Greek word, Latin word callus means hard. It is hard calcified granulation tissue uniting the fracture end is callus. In the secondary union healing of the fracture, osseous callus formation and remodeling. Osseous callus formation occurs in three ways, three steps. Procallus acts as a scaffolding on which the osseous callus composed of lamellar bone is formed. Then oven bone is cleared away by osteoclast and newly formed blood vessels and osteoblasts invade, laying down osteoid which is calcified, and lamellar bone is formed by developing Haversian system concentrically around the blood vessels. Then remodeling, osteoblastic laying and osteoclastic removal takes place, remodeling the united fracture ends, which after some times is indistinguishable from the normal bone. This is the stage I have shown you. Here there is a formation, a stage of soft callus formation, fracture ends are there, and the organization by hematoma, inflammatory reactions, and invasion of the granulation tissue. Then here the granulation tissue is calcified by calcium deposition, and so hard callus formation occurs. And here there is a stage of remodeling, that is by continuous osteoid laying and excess osteoid removal by osteoclastic activity. Then stages of normal fracture healing. 0 to 3 weeks hematoma with macrophages at the fracture site. Then 3 to 6 weeks demolition by osteoclast and callus formation within hematoma. Then 6 to 12 weeks osteoblast lay osteoid within the callus, lamellar bone bridging the fracture end. Then 6 to 12 months cortical gap is bridged by the bone, and 1 to 2 years normal architecture is achieved by remodeling, that is by continuous osteoid laying and removal of excess osteoid by osteoclast. So these are the time course of the normal fracture of the healing. And complications of the fracture healing. The complications of the fracture are fibrous union, that is due to immobilization, delayed union due to infection or poor blood supply or poor nutrition. Then malunion due to improper reduction. Then non-union, soft tissue imposition between the fracture end. Then factors affecting healing of the fracture, certain favorable factors and unfavorable factors, local factors and systematic factors. In the local factors, infection is nil. Nil infection is a favorable sign. In compound fracture, infection is there, which is an unfavorable sign. Similarly, vascularity. Good vascularity is a favorable sign. Poor vascularity is an unfavorable sign. Position and alignment is satisfactory, is a favorable sign, and unsatisfactory is an unfavorable sign. Pathological fracture, absence of pathological disease is a favorable sign, and presence of pathological underlying disease previously before fracture is an unfavorable sign. Then immobilization of the fracture site, immobilization is good, good immobilization is a favorable sign, and poor or continuous movement is an unfavorable sign. Similarly, systematic factors like age. The healing of the fracture occurs rapidly in young is a favorable sign, and delayed in case of elderly, which is an unfavorable sign. Similarly, nutritional status. Good nutritional status is a favorable sign, and malnutrition, vitamin, zinc, C deficiency are unfavorable signs, or vitamin D deficiency and calcium deficiency is also an unfavorable sign. Now coming to a brief account of the stem cells. Stem cells are a cell that has ability to continuously divide and differentiate. Develop into differentiation means develop into various other kinds of cells or tissue. Differentiation in particularly in tumor or in stem cells or other organogenesis, differentiation is important point. So you should know concrete definition of that differentiation. Differentiation is derivation of different cell types with a specialized structure and function from a common ancestral origin. Differentiation is derivation of different cell types with a specialized structure and function from a common ancestral origin. So, the stem cells has capability to differentiate. Stem cells are dynamic, are undifferentiated master cells that not yet have a specific function. Stem cells can change to one or several different cells, that is, differentiate under a particular condition. This is a stem cells and this is a specialized cells, can undergo unlimited division also. That is self-renewal, unlimited division and differentiation into the specialized cells. So this stem cells baseline population has property of proliferation and differentiation, as well as it can go apoptosis. Excess tissue is sculptured by the process of apoptosis in embryogenesis. Then cell population fate, proliferation, differentiation. This is one of the differentiation is a key concept in case of neoplasia. Then stem cells are of two types, embryogenic and adult. Embryologic or embryogenic and adult type of stem cells. Stem cells are totipotent, that it can form totality of the individual or organism. Then two kinds of stem cells are embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. Embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. The embryonic stem cells are pluripotent, that is descendant of totipotent cells and differentiated on all cell layers, ecto, meso and endoderm. And adult cells are less versatile, more difficult to identify and isolate and purify. This is the formation of the zygote, ovum and spermatozoa fusion creates zygote. There is a cleavage, the cleavage, and its cell is a stage of morula formation, that is morula formation and blastocyst formation. And the inner cell mass of the blastocyst is called stem cell. This stem cell resides in the inner cell mass of the blastocyst. This fertilized egg, totipotent cells, this is blastocyst, and inner cell mass is pluripotent, that is stem cells. These are isolated in proper sausage and cultured. Pluripotent stem cells are again by culturing in the proper sausage or media. History of embryonic cells, base 5 to 6 blastocysts that forms fetus, isolate inner cell mass and is cultured in sausage media. In 1998, James Thompson, University of Wisconsin, medicine isolated cells from the inner cell mass of blastocyst and developed the first human embryonic stem cell in the culture. Then derivation and use of embryonic stem cells, base 5 to 6 blastocyst, outer placenta layer and this inner cell mass forms the fetus. This inner cell mass is destroyed and the inner cell mass is cultured. And this culturing, a specialized sources largely unknown in the liver, heart muscles and kidney differentiates into these three types, and many types can differentiation into ectoderm, mesoderm and endodermal layer. This heart is also repaired by the stem cells. And this embryonic stem cell, this is given embryonic blastocyst and extracted stem cells. Researchers extract stem cells from 5 to 7 days old blastocyst. Stem cells can divide in culture to form their own kind and thereby creating a stem cell line. And these stem cells, line blastocysts, these extracted stem cells cultured, and that can differentiate into pancreas, bone, brain, kidney. So this is the early development model of the plate of the stem cells. Totipotent, pluripotent and multipotent embryonic stem cells are there, which differentiate into endoderm, mesoderm and ectoderm. Endoderm, digestive tract, respiratory tract; mesoderm, bones, blood cells and heart; and ectoderm, skin and central nervous system. Kinds of stem cells: totipotent. Each cell can form a new embryo, that is totality of the organism. Cells, that is zygote, fertilized egg, is totipotent cells. Then pluripotent cells. These totipotent cells can form pluripotent, that is form over 200 cell types. Some cells of blastocysts 5 to 14 days old, embryonic stem cells, like example is hematopoietic stem cell. Then multipotent stem cells, that is can differentiate into fetal tissue, cord blood and adult stem cells into various germ layer cells. Then oligopotent can differentiate into only a few cell types, like myeloid, lymphoid, neural stem cells. And unipotent can produce one cell type, progenitor, like spermatogonial cells and muscle stem cells. This is totipotent stem cells, pluripotent stem cells, germ cells, and somatic stem cells differentiate into endoderm, ectoderm, mesoderm. Forms blood, muscles and cartilage. Mesoderm, ectoderm, skin, hair and nerves, and endoderm, GIT, respiratory tract, liver, intestine and pancreas. Adult stem cells resides in the bone marrow. Adult stem cells resides in the various sites, like in the bone marrow. In the bone marrow, it resides like in the canal of Hering. Then in the skin, that is niche. In the skin niche, microenvironment, favorable microenvironment are base of the hair follicles. Resides at the base of the hair follicle. These stem cells resides at the base of hair follicle. And in the GIT, it resides in the crypts of Lieberkühn. In the GIT, it resides in the crypt of Lieberkühn. And in the nervous tissue at the subventricular zone and dentate gyrus. So these are the various radiant sites of in the cornea. It resides in the limbus, at the sclerocorneal junction. It resides at the limbus. Adult stem cells are undifferentiated cells found among specialized or differentiated cells in a tissue or organ after birth. They reside in a special microenvironment, that is niche. In the skin, I have told you, in the base of the hair follicle, in the fat cells, in the bone marrow, then the canal of Hering, and the brain, and the subventricular zone and dentate gyrus. And this umbilical and many other organs, like in the cornea, in the liver, etc. These umbilical stem cells had three important functions, that is transdifferentiation, that is developmental plasticity, potential to change into other cell types, like nerve cells develop into other cells. This is the transdifferentiation or developmental plasticity. Homing, travel to distant site at the site of damage. This is homing. And engraftment, to unite with other tissue. These are the three properties of the adult umbilical stem cells. Engraftment, to unite with the other tissue. Umbilical cord blood, greater compatibility, also known as Watten's jelly, and adult stem cell infant origin, less invasive than bone marrow and less expensive. This is the multipotent stem cells in the liver, canal of Hering, in the bone marrow, Similarly, in the differentiate into skeletal muscles, this into the epithelial cells, this differentiate into neurons, cardiac muscles, fat cells, and this is brain. In Alzheimer's disease and various degenerative disorders are treated by treated by the stem cells, but it is still in an experimental stage. So these are the growth factors and cytokines involved in pluripotent stem cells, like vascular endothelial growth factor and fibroblast growth factors are involved in endothelial cell formation. SOX9 involved in chondroblast formation. CBFA1 involved in osteoblast laying, and this PPA R gamma involved in fat cell formation, and MyoB and myogelin others involved in myotube formation. The stem cells adult are maybe autologous, homologous or genogenic. Autologous stem cells removed from patient's own body and later on transfused to various for treatment of various disorders like in leukemia, in various myocardial infarction, cardiomyopathy, in Alzheimer's disease, etc. Allogenic stem cells that is derived from another donor, but relative, primarily relative or completely unrelated donor of the same species like human. So this is about the allogenic stem cells, and third is genogenic, that is derived from porcine, fetal or unrelated genus, but it has certain limitations of immunorejection and continued immunosuppression has to be taken into account. Possible uses of stem cell technology: replaceable tissue organs, repair of defective cell types, then delivery of genetic therapies, then delivery of chemotherapeutic agent. That is tissue repair, nerve, heart, muscle, organ, skin, cancers, autoimmune disease, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis and multiple sclerosis also in various neurological disorders. Then skin disorders, heart disease like myocardial infarctions, heart failure or cardiomyopathy treatment. Then leukemia and cancer cell treatment. Then rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune disease treatment, stem cells are being used. Then type 1 diabetes treatment, stem cells are being used, but still they are in experimental stage. Stem cells in the adult brain, in the subventricular gene and dentate gyrus of the hippocampus. These differentiate into neuron, astrocytes and oligodendrocytes and are very good treatment for multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's disease, etc. Induced pluripotent stem cells isolate from present fibroblasts or skin, treat with reprogramming factors. Within few weeks, pluripotent stem cells develop, which change culture conditions and differentiates into various cardiac muscles, gut tissue and blood cells also. So technical challenge: source cell lines may have mutations, delivery to target areas is also difficult, prevention of rejection and suppressing tumors. Problems with adult stem cells: mutations lead to leukemia. Mutations of stem cells can lead to leukemia also. So these are the limitations. Stem cells can replace disease or damaged cells. It is important. Stem cells allow us to study development and genetics, and stem cells can be used to test different substances like drugs and chemicals. So, why the controversy of the stem cells? Embryonic stem cells are derived from extrablastocysts that would otherwise be discarded following in vitro fertilization. Extracting a stem cell embryos destroys the developing embryo or blastocyst. Question in consideration are: is an embryo a person? Is it morally acceptable to use embryo for the research? Then what do we become when do we become humans? These are the various limitations. Stem cells, ethical debate, harvesting embryonic stem cells destroys the blastocyst. This is murder. Stem cells research requires human cells. Conducts could create a commercial market of human cells, so devalues the life. Life is devaluated by these stem cells. This devalues the life. So stem cells are ethical debates of about the murder, then devaluation of the life, and requires a lot of research. So this is the religious debate over harvesting stem cells, embryonic stem cells. The pro-life group generally believe that personhood happen at or shortly after conception. This is murder, and they argue that no potential health benefits to even hundreds of millions of people can justify the murder of other humans. Shall we clone? These stem cells can be used for human cloning also. Then this research on stem cell is progressing in spite of several restrictions. Now coming to the summary of the inflammation. The inflammation in nutshell consists of three factors: vascular formation, formation of cellular exudate or cellular response, and healing. The vascular response consists of hyperemia, vascular phenomenon, that is persistent initially vasoconstriction followed by persistent vasodilatation, then stasis. Then formation of fluid exudate by increased in vascular permeability and proteins, increased in capillary blood pressure, then breakdown of large molecule tissue protein and increased permeability of the tissue proteins. So this is the formation of cellular exudate, fluid exudate. And formation of cellular exudate in 0 to 9, after 9 minutes, neutrophil are first to reach at the site of inflammation. Then by 24 to 48 hours, macrophage and monocyte reach at the site of inflammation. And all cells accumulate at the site of inflammation by 3 days, forming cellular exudate. Then role of chemical mediators. I have discussed in detail, that is cell-derived factor or tissue factor and plasma factors. That is various cell-derived factors are vasoactive amines, then arachidonic acid metabolites, lysosomal compounds, then your cytokines and various other factors like free acidic radical and prostaglandins and platelet activating factors. Similarly, plasma-derived are your clotting and fibrinolytic factors, kinins and complement factors. This is about, in brief, about the fracture of a specialized tissue, that is fracture of the healing, as well as a brief account of the stem cells through which regeneration of the healing in the healing by first intention or regeneration of the healing occurs through stem cell proliferation. So this is not in nutshell about the various aspects of the inflammation, then your fracture, healing and stem cells development for regeneration process. Thank you.